Normally, the ideas and themes of an album are expressed most vividly in its lyrical content. This is, for the most part, a fair assessment, as the vocal performance is the only one spoken in a language that we can directly understand. It is the only time that the meanings are expressly spelled out to us. However, it can also be argued that said spelling out detracts from our own interpretations of songs and limits us from fully exploring the concepts embedded in the art that we consume. I'm Royston Charmaine, and this is Exploring the Concept. The subject of today's exploration into sonic speech is going to be the two-piece ambient rock outfit from Nashville, Tennessee, Vaudlow, and their self-titled debut record. Their Bandcamp page describes them as rhythm, passion and thunder, a melody of voice beyond language. Their Twitter hails them as cinematic music therapy. Both of these descriptions are incredibly apt and accurately summarise how I feel when I listen to their music. This is by far my favourite record of 2019 and has become my go-to listen either when I am writing, hence my inspiration to make this video, or when I'm stressed and need to find a more relaxed, calm headspace. Allow me to take you through this record and discuss the feelings it invokes within me and how it helps me to centre myself in trying times. Before we begin, I will quickly mention that what I'm about to discuss will be my own personal interpretations of these tracks and not what the band themselves have specifically stated or intended. With that said, let us dive headlong into this blue desolate and discover how it can help us mend. The record begins with the counterpart, opening softly with ringing chords that echo over a faint backing of strings, slowly building towards crescendo. This immediately sets the stall for the record, signalling the journey that we're about to undertake. We find peace among the fractured segments, combining them slowly and softly into fragments of joy and hope. For me, this song is reaching the pinnacle of an arduous hill and gazing out over the surrounding countryside, basking in the light and the wonder. Tough times may be here with more ahead, but the reward will be spectacularly worthwhile. With effort and intelligent application of it, I can achieve all that I want to achieve, and the fact that it may be difficult is what makes it worth doing. This leads us perfectly on to beginning with the winding and subsequent ticking of a clock, serenaded by a slowly building piano structure. The song speaks of life, opportunity, reflection and, obviously enough, time. We stand atop that difficult climb, surveying our achievements, revelling in the pride of them, but wondering what comes next. The ticking of the clock comes and goes as we ponder whether or not this is something we need to know right away, or if it's something that can wait. Eventually though, the threat of future scratches away in the recess of our mind, forcing us to look forwards rather than back. Where does our path lead to from here? Where do I want it to go? Where is it possible to go? Anywhere at all. I can achieve anything that I set my mind to. Anything I feel I want to take is out there waiting for me to come and grab it. This could be ours. Acting as something of a respite between the force of positivity and action that came before it and the similarly high energy track to follow, Mend allows the listener time to think and reflect upon the emotions of the previous song. A sit down and a drink atop the imaginary hill that we just climbed, before proceeding on a journey of discovery. Where the preceding two tracks began slowly and build to an epiphany of realization and musical significance, Mend prefers to stay huddled within the warmth of his opening pace. Feeling the wind rush by, cooling itself ahead of another push into progressiveness. Our rest over, we begin flying again with CHORALE, which bursts out of the gate with an infectious, inescapable energy. This is the feeling of running full tilt back down that hill you just climbed. This song is the return of confidence and happiness. Excitement and joy blending seamlessly into a calm state of contentedness, eagerly awaiting the next opportunity for pleasure. This song sings of triumph and pride. As someone reaching out for progress within himself, this song in particular is one that resonates with me on a level that I'm afraid I don't quite have words to describe, which I guess is kind of the point of this video. MEUS begins in a slightly more somber tone, starkly contrasted with the previous track. Clocking in at just shy of 8 minutes, this is by some distance the longest track on the record, and thus has the slowest build. After roughly 4 minutes of quietly contemplative anxiety, an organ echoes through the track, tearing apart the walls of the mind and lending an epic scope to the sound. Even once the cacophony is drowned, the echo remains. After the positivity and progression of its predecessors, this track takes a step backwards, urging caution and expressing doubt. Even though we remain framed within this overriding feeling of hope, it is okay, even healthy, to take a moment to feel negative emotions, confront negative thoughts. It's only through this that we move onwards. The longest track on the record is followed immediately by the shortest. Clocking in at just under 2.5 minutes, Blue Desolate opens with a cry of desire and freedom. Once this initial surge of feeling tapers, we are left to close our eyes and marvel in its splendour. Before going again. This song is a promise of what can happen once we deal with the negativity in our lives and can begin enjoying the positives that are there, waiting for us all to take hold. The final track on this relatively short record, Obliviate, seeks to reflect on the journey we've travelled and the lessons we've learned. Flowing seamlessly from section to section, cymbals crashing in the distance, calling us onwards, this song is a look to the future. What we can achieve is truly limited only by our imagination and the constraints we place upon ourselves. The road ahead of me is tough, uneven, laid with obstacles for me to overcome, but I can do it. Of course I can. And I will. Without anything specifically in the text to guide the listener into what to think and feel, an instrumental album is something that the mind can help build. Imagine a book with no characters or plots, only world building. Imagine a film with no protagonists or dialogues, only action. We can take ourselves into this art form and fill the spaces with whatever comes to mind. What I've described today is the journey my ego took whilst this beautiful music was playing. Now that you've listened to me, perhaps you would follow the same path, perhaps not. There's certainly more scope for differences here than if a vocalist had been outlining his or her thoughts throughout. I'd strongly recommend giving this record, Vaudlow by Vaudlow, a listen and seeing for yourself. I'll link to their Bandcamp below. The album is available to download for free, but you can choose to pay if you like. In a time where performing live is nigh on impossible, I would ask you to consider paying just a little if you feel that you can. Tell me in the comments how this record made you feel, what it made you think. I'd love to see how much you differ from my own interpretations. This has been Exploring the Concept. I have been Royston Charmaine, and until next time, peace and love.